Hey guys, I know I said this in the last video, but I forgot to explain it. Ignore my voice. I've been screaming at the heavens this morning. At the top of my lungs. Normally I actually don't do that. But, I felt called to do it. I felt called to scream at the top of my lungs this morning. I've been going through some shit, and I've had to allow myself to feel it. So I can't explain it, sometimes you let out the frustrated grunt, and then another one, and then another one, and then I just kept screaming until I couldn't talk. So how does that play into it? We're gonna shift it to one thing. Today's topic is one thing. If I had to truly give you one thing to change your life, what is it? First, I'm gonna say typically that's a catch. That's fishing or clickbait. Yes, I am going to put it in the title to prove a point. It's clickbait. However, there is one thing I would like to recommend, of course, first. The reason I say there is no true one thing is because you uncover one thing and then you find another thing and then another thing. So it's not one thing to fix your life. Now, these one thing videos are valid because these one things are helpful. Where it is good is you have to start with one thing. That's where it becomes important. Sure, there's not one thing that will turn around your life, maybe. But to turn around your life, you have to start with one thing. So it is important. It is important. I'm not saying disregard those. What I'm saying, though, is typically those tend to be scams. Because it's like, oh, one thing. Well, then you find out that one thing did work or it didn't work. So then you go back for more information and find the next thing. And then the next thing. So hopefully my one thing tends to actually be useful. And instead of gating it into the end of the video, 3 minutes in, it's awareness. Right there. I'm not gonna make you sit to the end. The answer is awareness. Why? If you would like to stick around to the rest of the video, this is why. Let's use my example today. And I talked about in a previous video, every day you leave your house, whether you know it or not, you are the epic hero. You are going about your day on your journey. Now, no, maybe you're not going out and slaying goblins or dragons, but this is still a journey, a hero's journey. And what happens in that day reflects what's been going on inside of you. So it is actually quite useful, like in some video games or teachers that used to try to teach us, to actually, at the end of our lesson, go back and reflect on the lesson. Do you guys remember this? Is it clicking any buttons from school? You go back and you reflect on the lesson and be like, okay, so how did my day go? Well, it started with me getting in my car and screaming at the top of my lungs because I'm angry. Well, why are you angry? Why am I angry? Well, life is not going the way I expected it. I was told a bunch of things, and then I got expectations. And then life turned around and it's not what I expected. So that's fair. That's valid. It's like, okay, well, what were you expecting? I was expecting A, B, C, D, and it's like, well, now first off, I'm mad at God, because it's like I didn't get those. Because it didn't hit my expectations. And then it's like, well, okay, you can't really be mad at God, because we'll talk about that in another video. But it's like, okay, well, think about this. Are you blocking yourself? I'm like, but, well, where are these supposed miracles? What if you're blocking yourself? I'm just like, okay, that's also valid and fair. Maybe I am. Oh, it is actually picking them up. That is hilarious. What is that? My car door. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I was... weird things on my camera. So... I was angry. Just like in my last video, I had talked about a twin flame. I had a whole twin flame thing fall down that I was expecting. I was expecting it. I was being told for months it was coming in, and it was here, and I could feel it, and I could feel its energy, and it was present. And then at some point it just disappeared with no warning. And I'm like, I understand, but I'm still angry. I'm still allowed to feel angry. I understand. I get it. However, I am still pissed. Okay? And even though the feelings aren't necessarily invalid, the stories behind them aren't. Like I said, it's not God going back on his promise. That's just my trauma. Because my parents used to do that. It's like they would promise me something and then either forget or just blow me off. So I'm feeling unwanted and unloved and like, well, you know, undeserving. Like everything, all of my wounds are being triggered. It's like, okay, so he's like, alright dad, he's gonna promise me the cool new toy, and where is it? I acknowledge it. I actually am kind of mad. Like, I have to acknowledge and feel the feelings. But it's the awareness that allows me to do that. Okay? Going through the rest of my day, I was actually just driving around, screaming, trying to get out of my head, trying to get out of my apartment. And just crazy shit happened. I actually ended up getting pulled over. Which is a first. I haven't been pulled over in like 3 to 4 years. I'm not kidding. I've been good. And in fact, I had realized, because I was angry, I was driving around a little crazy. I had acknowledged I was going 10 over no matter where I was. I was like, alright, normally I don't drive like this. Calm down. Well, because I had a tower moment recently, I'm still kind of scared and frantic and... Well, like, for instance, when I got pulled over, at first he started, well, I'm just giving you a citation because you ran a stop sign, but let me check something. I was like, check something. Then he goes back and starts doing all these questions. And then a second cop pulls up, and they start talking. And then he gets to the point he asks me to put my keys on the top of my roof. I'm like, obviously I'm flipping the fuck out. I'm like, what is going on? What the fuck? Well, it turns out, my VIN number didn't match my car. I don't know how. God's grace, I happen to have my, my registration in my car. Because, you know, you don't carry your title. That stays home. So the dude's like, do you have your title? I was like, not with me. Why? He's like, well, how long have you had this car? It's like 4 to 5 years. He's like, it's like, what the fuck is going on? Well, I tried to stay calm. I'm like, alright, just relax. 10, 20 minutes later, he comes back and goes, okay, so I'm giving you a citation, just slow down, it's not a ticket. That's it, have a great day. I'm like, no, what the fuck was that? He goes, what? I'm like, no, explain to me, what the fuck was that about? Because of course at first it's like, what's going on? Well, hold on, sir. No, tell me what the fuck's going on. Well, sir, I'll tell you in a bit. It's like, okay, I'm about to get out and fucking punch you. Like, I don't care if you're a cop, I'm about to punch you. And he also had broken English, so it's like, I'm even more frustrated because I don't understand. Basically, the VIN number was pulling up to a Kia. I drive a Honda. So immediately he's like, what are you doing? Who is this illegal person and what are they doing? I'm over here like, I've had this car for 5 fucking years. Why is this just now coming up? Was I sold an illegal car? I even told the cop, I'm like, dude, I bought it at Audi in Plano, like at the store right down the street. Like, I can give you the address. Like, what the fuck? Do they sell me a stolen car? And he goes, no, have a good day. It's like, you're not even gonna explain the glitch? Like, what happened? He goes, well, I just wanted to make sure I didn't type something wrong. I'm like, okay, so what happened? I never got a clear solution. He never admitted whether he typed something wrong or what. But, like, he took all of my documentation, he went and triple-checked it all, and goes, okay, have a good day. I'm just like, the fuck just Well, I drive away like, oh, okay. Okay. I don't... What? And the rest of the day was life lessons. While I'm out and about, I'm getting pings. What I mean is, why do I have a handful of taco sauce from Taco Bell? The answer is because I forgot to put it in the customer's bag. I was door dashing today. I got mad. I know. I got mad because I forgot to put the salsa in there. And I saw on the thing that she specifically asked for it, because they always forget it. So what did I do? I beat myself up. Damn it, Adam. Fuck. Why didn't you remember that? You literally stuffed it all in your pockets so you would remember. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah, I made a mistake. It's sauce. Adam, calm down. It's okay. And I'm like, whoa, why do I... You're right. And this is a voice between me and myself. So it's like, you're right. Why am I so upset about sauce? But then the awareness kicked in. And it's like, well, that's because no matter what you did as a child, it was never good enough. Every time you made a choice, it was wrong. Doesn't matter what it was. Growing up, you were always told you were wrong. For instance, here's a memory. You remember that one time you and your dad were driving and you were sitting in the passenger seat and he asked you to run in and get some food? And you came back with a box of candy and a soda? And he screamed at you for 20 minutes saying, "This is not food." And he literally said, "I'm going to eat it in front of you." He literally took it and said, "This is not food. What the fuck is this? You know what? I'm gonna sit here and eat it in front of you and you don't get any." I'm just like, huh. Well, that one memory alone is enough for trauma. Let's keep digging. So if I had to say one thing to fix or change your life, it's awareness. Because without it, I would have just been angry all day. I would have just been a grouchy bitch. I would have carried that energy all day. Because honestly, getting in the car and driving when I'm angry is not the smartest thing. Driving actually stresses me out. However, this is where it got weird, was the awareness kicked in and actually made it better. I was driving in a city and all of a sudden I felt really good. I was like, I don't like this city and normally don't want to be here, but something about it's making me happy today, it's making me nostalgic. It's like, alright, my mood's better. And even so, after driving and realizing such a nice day, because I grounded myself, awareness kicked in. I'm like, it's not such a bad day outside. I'm glad I went out for this drive. It's a really pretty day out. And then throughout the rest of the day, it just kept kicking in. It's like, oh, well, here's this life lesson, here's this life lesson, here's this life lesson. So as I'm going through my day, it's like, now it's automatic. It's like, yo, why did I just get mad at that car? And something pops up and goes, well, that's because there's trauma. It's like, okay. Now, it is useful and it is helpful, especially for shadow work, because it's like, well, you can't do shadow work without awareness. However, it is also debilitating at times. Like, for instance, I'm just working on a project, and I get angry at myself, and it triggers. It's like, oh, well, you got angry at yourself because of this. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Didn't really... Basically, what I'm trying to say is, it's happening when I don't want it to. Outside of meditation, outside of... Because there are days where I actually sink into myself, and I'm like, alright, today's a day I'm gonna work on myself. Let's dig in and see what... Oh, here's a core wound. But it's not even like that. Now it's straight up just... I'm literally sitting there eating breakfast. And it's like, da-da-da-da-da. And he goes, oh, hey, here's a past memory of something you work on. I'm like... Now I don't feel like eating. Can I just eat in peace? I wasn't trying to do shadow work. I'm just trying to enjoy my breakfast. And now I'm remembering about the time when I was 5 and blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm done. Yeah. So it's a catch-22. It's completely necessary and needed. But it is a bit of a pain in the ass. And that's why people don't typically have awareness, because the truth is they don't want it. Do you really want to be aware of all the crappy stuff you do in a day? Not really. Because guess what? Now I'm over here beating myself up. Like I said, I literally am upset because I forgot to give someone a sauce packet. Like... So awareness. How do you develop awareness? That is a great question. I don't exactly know how I developed it. I just know it really started back in high school. I can't explain it. And this is actually one of my traumas. But I became hyper-independent and hyper-vigilant. I didn't have anyone to really talk about this stuff with. So one day, I opened up or created a second self, which I discovered was actually my higher self. But this second self essentially held up a mirror to me every time and said, hey, look. Hey, look. And that's how. Like, it started one day when I asked a question of, why don't they like me? Like, back in high school, it's like, why don't these people like me? Well, the only way to explain it is a second voice. It's my voice. So it's not like some random entity joined in my brain. No, it's me. It's just a second me. This voice came up and said, well, what did you do? I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean, what did I do? And the voice continues, and it's like, well, they treat you like a monster, right? That's how you feel. They treat you like a monster. They treat you like you're the plague, like something's wrong with you. And, well, what did you do? Did you do something to cause this? I was like, no, I fucking didn't. This person did this, this, and this. And I'm like, that's what happened today, and that's why I'm angry. And the voice replies, well, did you do something to cause that? I'm like, no. How did you react? I was like, well, I lashed out. It's like, okay. So it's both our fault? Technically, yes. In a sense, yes. So then I kept presenting that mirror to myself and being like, alright, Adam, why are you angry? Why are you angry? What's wrong? What's going on? And then I'd have a conversation with myself. It's like, alright, why am I angry? What's up? And then this voice typically would be like, well, let's dig deeper. I honestly don't know how I triggered the awareness. But how to be aware is to start asking questions. Why? It's basically the primary question, why? Why? Why did I react that way? Start asking why. Even if it's not yourself, maybe start with other people. Because sometimes it's really hard to see within yourself. It's because we hide stuff from ourselves on purpose. It's like we don't want to see the bad things we've done, or the things we're guilty for. So it's like, sometimes it takes more to see through it. Because then at the same time, you also have to see if it's trauma or not. Because it starts getting a little crazy. Because once you start diving into yourself, it's like, okay, well, was this a response of trauma, or was this a response of them? So at first, I'm jumping all over the place. If you can't do the awareness on yourself, do the awareness on someone else. Almost psychoanalyze them and be like, why did they react this way? That's how I started developing the observer. I was like, alright, well, why do they react this way? Why did they get mad when I said this? When I didn't mean for them to get mad? Interesting. And then my analytical mind just started picking it apart. Now maybe that's something that has to do with me. I'm very right-brained. I mean, I'm both, because I'm also an artist. But I'm also very analytical and very literal. That's actually part of the autism. To be both and. So, I'm artistic, but I'm also very critical and logical. So I sort through myself like a computer, like an algorithm. And it's like, okay, so why did you do this? Why did that happen? Why did da-da-da-da-da-da? And I will actually go through and categorize and subcategorize and do whatever, although it's not necessarily great. It's just how I function. So then it becomes an algorithm. And it's like, well, my brain now detects a trigger, so it boots the algorithm of, let's find the core wound. Let's discover why. So I even made an algorithm to trigger the algorithm. It's like a warning sign to trigger this process. And it's like I went and, I can't explain it, but it's like I went and set up these mental constructs after developing awareness and said, okay, so now I have this thing called awareness, and let's start programming it, in a sense. Let's start programming it. And I was like, alright, so now let's start being aware of this, and let's start being aware of this, and start being aware of this. However, the weird thing is the awareness grows in ways I can't even imagine. For instance, I'd actually felt someone's energy pulling on mine in a store. I've never felt that before. I felt on spirits and entities pulling on my awareness, but this time I actually felt the desires of another human without being spoken. And I was like, well, this is kind of weird. It's kind of new. I don't know if I like it. But it's like, huh. So the awareness actually begins to spread out in different directions. I didn't even mean to do that. Like I said, the way I can explain it is I felt an energetic pull. It's like I sensed her intentions. It's like this lady wanted me to talk to her, but didn't want to start the conversation. She wanted me to. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. This lady's kind of pretty. But something about the energy is just kind of gross. So, no. I ain't gonna talk to her. And then I noticed she actually kept trying to pull on my energy. I'm just like, no. No. It's really weird, man. So, honestly, if I had to say one thing to change your life, it's awareness. Yeah. In fact, in my personal opinion, despite me having 0 PhDs, I personally believe if you really had to pick something, that would be the honest-to-God truth on how you change your life, is developing awareness. That's what therapy does. That's why you go to therapy. Therapy literally makes you see these patterns. If the therapist is good and not just trying to give you pills. You're like, alright, well, what it sounds like in your life is these patterns are repeating. You become aware of these patterns, and then you break them. It's the exact same thing therapy does. I'm just therapizing myself. It's not exactly fun, but that's what awareness is. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, it also, like I said, is a double-edged sword. Because the awareness was how I became a people pleaser. It's because I felt people's energy. I became a people pleaser. So it's like, oh, I feel someone's upset. I have to ease that. I have to stop that feeling. I can't let someone be upset. So I turned it off. At some point, I'm like, I don't like this. I'm sick and tired of feeling other people's emotions. So I actually turned it off. But now it's kind of like it's back and I can't do anything about it. So, yeah. Yeah. I guess that's it. But then there's the awareness about this morning, as I was quickly saying, just kind of wrapping it up. although I got angry and screamed at the top of my lungs, awareness still acknowledged this weird double-edged sword of, yes, your feelings are valid and acknowledged. However, the scenario that caused your feelings is incorrect. So like the story of, being misled. It's like, well, that's not true. However, the feelings are valid. So the awareness said, you can feel the feelings, express the feelings, because if you don't, you're not gonna move them. However, the awareness also tells you, though, that even though the feelings are valid, that's not how the situation really is. I can't give anything else. I don't know what else to give on this, so I guess that's it. I'm done. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Yeah, okay.